Welcome back to the channel, everybody. How are you doing today? We are going to do our seasonal TBR today. We are going to do winter. Winter is finally here. I want to show you guys what I plan on reading for December, January, and February. It's going to be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it. This is the first time of all these TBR videos I'm doing I'm actually going to show you like all the books I'm reading because these are all books I want to read. Priority reads, I should say. Usually for my seasonal ones, I just show you guys what ones are going to be priority and then I'll just have other books filtered out in it. But this is the first time I have like all these books I actually want to read. So we're going to start with December. So for the next 3 months, I'm going to be reading one big manga series. And then I have a couple of goal reading things. I'm doing a video of all my reading goals of 2025 soon. So that'll be fun. And I'll talk more in depth about what I plan on doing. But for the next 3 months, I want to read Vagabond. I want to read the whole Vagabond thing. I have these cool, I think they're 3-in-1 editions. I have all 12 of them. So I really want to read Vagabond throughout the winter month. And I think it's going to be pretty good. I read Berserk and then I read Vinland Saga before Vagabond. So I was like, I need to read the last one of the big three. And I'm actually pretty excited to read Vagabond. I think when I finish Vagabond, I'm not going to do like arc by arc review. I'm just going to do a giant review of Vagabond. And I might do a video comparing Vagabond, Vinland Saga, and Berserk, what I like about each of them, what stands out for each of them, so on and so forth. I'm not sure yet, but we will see. I'm actually really excited to get into Vagabond though. Starting off for the TBR as well for non-manga or comic book books, I am going to get back into reading Stephen King. I want to read through all of his books, and I took a long time off. I think last time I read a Stephen King book was 6 years ago now. I'm thinking I was about 21, 22, so about 6 years ago now that I read Stephen King. So I was like, I'm going to read through, I'm going to do a giant multiverse video eventually reading all of Stephen King books, my thoughts about Stephen King, and I want to do like ranking videos of all of his books, so on and so forth. I just think it'll be a lot of fun to do videos like that. And with this is going to be the start of Night Shift. So I'm pretty excited. I think the last book I read from him was The Shining. It was on here. I also did a review of Misery, but I actually am going to revisit and do an actual full thought video of Misery. And same thing with probably It, because I never read, like, I put a review of It on my channel, but I never actually read it like that, if that makes sense. So I want to read it and then experience it again. So yeah, anyways, so I'm going to do a lot of rereads of books I've read years ago, and then there's going to be plenty that I haven't read. And Night Shift, I only read this once, so I'm actually pretty excited to get back into this. Next one on this list is an author I never read, but I really like the movie, No Country for Old Men. And I want to read that book. Didn't know that was a book for a while, but now I'm like, I want to read that. And instead of reading that first, I'm going to read The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I hear a lot of good things about good old Cormac, but I also hear disturbing things about Cormac. And a lot of his books are kind of like a Western style, which is kind of cool, and I kind of want to check it out. Now with this book, I don't know much about it. I just know it's a father and son relationship, and that's about it. And I know in this book he doesn't use names. It's just called like the boy and the man or something like that, if I can remember. And I know that he doesn't use quotations either, which is interesting. And a lot of people complain about it, but to me, I'm like, whatever. It'd be fun to read it anyways. And then I want to read his next. Then I want to read Pretty Little Horses, Blood Meridian, and then No Country for Old Men. And I kind of want to do a giant video about the 4 books after that. So maybe in the summer, I will be reading all of his books, and I can do a video about all 4 of them. That'd be fun. But yeah, The Road's gonna be the first one. I bought it used last year for $7. I still have the tag on for $7. And I was like, oh dude, The Road, I want to read Cormac McCarthy, so figured why not. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to get into this one. So I'm a big fan of Dean Koontz, so I was like, well, let's get back into reading it. I want to read more Dean Koontz, more Clive Barker, more Stephen King. I want to get back into some old authors I really liked when I was younger, when I first got into reading. Besides Clive Barker, I just read him last year for the first time. But Dean Koontz and Stephen King I haven't read in years. I do Dean Koontz more recently compared to Stephen King, but they're just authors I want to read and get back into. And for December, I figured Dean Koontz, The Door to December, is perfect because it's in December. I was going to read this during the summer, but I was like, nah, we're going to save this for December because The Door to December, I need to figure out why it's The Door to December. And I'm a big fan of Dean Koontz. I've only read like 5 of his books, and every single one of them has been 5 out of 5. He just doesn't miss for me, and I really like it. And my mom gave me like all of his books when she moved away from my state. So I was like, hell yeah, I got a bunch of Dean Koontz books, so I'm actually pretty excited to see where this goes. So the last book for December is a classic book. I want to get more classic literatures under my belt, so I'd like to do a video about classic literature in the new year, and I would like to have about at least 10 to 15 classic literature under my belt, and currently I have like 4. So this is number 5. And number 5 is one I'm pretty excited for. Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. I'm pretty excited to read this book. I don't know anything about this book, and I want to stick with that when it comes to classics. The only ones I truly knew before going into was like Frankenstein and Dracula. But other than that, I didn't know much about like The Catcher in the Rye, War of the Worlds, and now I don't know anything about Pride and Prejudice, so I'm pretty excited to read this. All I know is this is a really good book. And if I like this book enough, I'm probably going to read Emma from her eventually. But in the new year, I have a plenty of classics that I want to read, and I'm probably going to do a video about that, of classics that I plan on reading in 2025. So that's going to be pretty excited to check it out. Alright, so starting in January, this is my January TBR, and of course Vagabond's probably going to be in there. Vagabond's going to be December, January, in fact, without a doubt, and I'll probably do a big video of it for March. So just to lay that out there for you guys. And I do have one digital book in this that I don't have. I'm only going to read it digitally, and so we'll just talk about that one real quick. I am starting in January. I'm going to read the ACOTAR series. I want to do one book a month all the way until May, just because my girlfriend really likes Sarah J. Maas, but she won't let me read the Throne of Glass series because she says I'll be too mean about it. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just read ACOTAR, which is one of her favorite series. And she actually is going to do videos with me, and we're going to talk about ACOTAR together. So that's going to be pretty fun. So once a month, be prepared for that, starting in January. Other than that, now I'm going to read, I think this is the sequel to Silence of the Lamb, or this is the prequel. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Red Dragon by Thomas Harris, I want to read. I really like Silence of the Lamb. I think Silence of the Lamb was so much fun to read. And so I figured, why not? And I think if I like this one enough, I'll probably read Hannibal Rising next. So that's gonna be fun. I'm very, very excited to check out this as a whole, this series. I want to read all 4. I think there's 4 books, or there's only the trilogy. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I want to read all this in the new year, and then I want to do the, I don't remember what the series is called. I think it's the Doppelganger series or something. It's the VC Andrews series of Flowers in the Attic. There's 5 books in that, so I want to actually read that in the new year as well and finish that series, because why not? But yeah, I want to read Red Dragon. I'm very excited to get into this and just see if I like this more than Silence of the Lamb, or is this just not good? That's one of my thoughts. I'm hoping it's good, because I'm hoping it doesn't like try and milk the fun, I guess, the popularity of Silence of the Lamb. But I guess we'll find out when I read this. And like I said, for the new year, I wanted to read more Clive Barker, and I only read Hellbound Heart last year, so I was like, all right, I bought all of his other books. I didn't buy all of his short stories, I don't think, but instead I bought a bunch of Clive Barker, and with the new year happening, I'm like, let's get into it. So I bought Weave World by Clive Barker, and I really wanted to read this book for a while. A lot of things I was like looking into, like his books. A lot of people say Weave World is like his best book. So I was like, all right, I want to check it out. It's like a horror sci-fi novel, I think, with a little bit of fantasy, if I can remember. But I like Clive Barker a lot. He writes really cool body horror for like Hellbound Heart, so I'm hoping he brings that into this, because to me as a writer, I want to read more of these body horror so it can help me write more disturbing things in my books to give me a better imagination. And so Weave World is going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually excited. I think this is going to be really good. I don't have high expectations, but I also don't have low expectations. Just because Clive Barker is 1 for 1 for me doesn't mean all the rest of his books are going to be good. Usually I'm like 2 or 3 books in will determine if I think every book from this author is going to be a banger or not. So I'm very excited to get into Weave World. Starting the new year off, besides ACOTAR, I want to read an adult fantasy series that isn't romancy or anything. So I was going to do Game of Thrones, but I think Game of Thrones will be happening after ACOTAR is when I think I'm going to start Game of Thrones, because it's only 5 books. And who knows, if George finishes the 6th book in 2025, I'll have all Game of Thrones done, and then I can just read Winds of Winter. I think that's the 6th book coming out, whatever, it doesn't matter. So instead, I decided to read, I think it's just called the Rhapsody series from Elizabeth Hayden. I don't know too much about her or anything about this book. I saw this on BookTok. Someone like posted like fantasy books they're reading in 2024, and I saw the cover. I'm like, this looks sick. So I actually bought this on Amazon. Oh, in like the wild of like my used bookstore, and then a couple up north at my old hometown. I went to those bookstores, and they had all the rest of the books here. So I was like, heck yeah, let's go. So I bought this and I'm pretty excited to try this out. I don't know if it's gonna be like one book a month. We'll see. In February, it's the second book's not there because I don't want to like guarantee, oh, I'm gonna read all these. Because if I don't like this one, then I guess I wasted probably like $15 on the whole series. I have some high hopes for this book. I think this is gonna be a fun book to read. It just looks like a lot of fun. I don't know what else to say about it. But when I do a review, that's where I'll give you guys my thoughts. Continuing on the reading Dean Koontz life, I picked up Cold Fire. Now, Cold Fire, no idea what it's about. Like I said, my mom gave me a bunch of his books. I think my mom gave me like 45 of his books. And to me, I'm like, I need to read these because I have them all and I really like Dean Koontz. I like his writing, and depending on the books I write, I put a little bit of how he writes into my own works, just like I do with Stephen King. And so I wanted to keep reading more of him because I like learning from these really popular writers from the 80s and the 70s and the 90s and stuff. So I was like, let's check out Cold Fire. January is the coldest month of the year in Michigan, so Cold Fire fits it, I guess. I guess we'll find out. Unless he has the book called something with January, maybe I'll read it in January. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited to check this one out. All right, so as you can tell, I have one physical book because I didn't buy another book for February yet. I just forgot. I literally forgot to buy it, but I'll buy it sometime. So we're going to do the second book of the ACOTAR series. I think it's like A Court of Mist and Fury, I think it's called. I think that's what it is called. Don't question it, just accept it. So in February, the books are actually kind of smaller than I'm planning on reading. Like A Court of Mist and Fury is going to be one. And then I'm going to do an Emily Henry read, which is, I think, What Happens on Vacation is what it's called. I'm going to have both of them here. I haven't read Emily Henry since like 2 years ago, which was Beach Reads. So in the new year, I actually want to read like 5 of her most popular books and then do a video about all of her books. Those 5 popular books. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I liked Beach Reads a lot, so I'm like, let's read the next book in Emily Henry's thing. If I like it enough, then I'll probably just read her next couple of popular books, and then maybe I'll do a giant video of it. That's what I like to do. I like to do big videos of authors I like. Let's see how that goes. And same thing with A Court of Mist and Fury. I plan on doing a giant video of ACOTAR, probably in the summer if I like ACOTAR enough. Other than that, I have one physical book, another classic I plan on reading, and that is Gone with the Wind. I always try to stick with themes for certain months, like October, spooky books, try to read spooky books. February is the month of love, so I try to read books with a lot of love in it, try to. And Gone with the Wind is literally, like, people say is the greatest love story of all time. So to me, I'm like, I need to figure this out if this is the truth. And if it is really good, I'm going to talk about it. It's another classic book I want to scratch off of my classic TBR video. So that's also like a win for me as well. And as you can tell, I only have 3 books for the month of February. February is only 4 weeks long. So I will probably find another book to read. That's the thing too, is like, I might have space, so these books all might not cover all the spaces I need for my book reviews. So I do have other books I will probably read that maybe I was going to start in the spring, and maybe I'll push them back to read them. Who knows? And I like to do that because what if this book takes me 3 weeks to read? Then it's like, oh crap. But regardless though, I'm pretty excited. I have plenty of books I want to read, and I haven't bought a lot of books lately, and it's kind of nice where I just have so many books in my own library where I'm just like, I want to read these first. And I've been focused on that. I'm pretty close to finishing almost all the books in my physical library, which is really cool. I didn't expect that to actually happen, and I'm really happy to see that. Now, I don't have any self-pub books up here. I haven't found any self-pub books that I'm like, oh wow, this looks really good. Yeah, I am trying to figure out, I need to just do it. I keep forgetting to. It's always on my to-do list, is to do like a P.O. box. I need to make a P.O. box, so anyone who is an indie writer that wants to send me a physical copy of their book, I will love to take it, because I want to try and read at least one indie book at least a month, or one every other month, something like that. I don't know yet, but somewhere like that. So that is my winter TBR. I'm pretty excited. Like I said, this is the first time I actually revealed all the books I want to read for a seasonal read, because honestly, I want to read all of them. They all look so much fun to read, and I'm actually excited because, like I said, my fall TBR honestly was kind of mid. I wasn't happy with a lot of them. My fall wrap-up video, I wasn't too happy about even the books I picked that were like, oh, these are the best ones. I felt very upset that I'm like, man, this was just not a good seasonal month for me. So I'm hoping the winter one is gonna be better. I think all the books I picked are gonna be better to read, more enjoyable. I'm very, very excited. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. What do you guys think about the TBR? Is there any books on there that you guys think, oh, that looks really fun to read? Or what are you guys gonna be reading for the winter. Do you guys do winter theme, like a Christmas theme books, and then the month of love for Christmas theme, for Valentine's theme? What do you guys do for theme? I don't really do too much themes, clearly, because Christmas, I don't have anything for Christmas. But in general, I just want to know what you guys think. That'd be awesome as well. And last but not least, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay weird.